We're very glad at CSLC Lebanese University to welcome the American University of Beirut libraries with us today. I especially thank Nabila Shahabuddin and Sahar Ghandour for joining us. Nabila is the head of the Japhet Reference and Instruction, and Sahar is the senior business information specialist at the libraries. Both our student and researcher community in natural language processing and instructional design at CSLC would be highly interested to learn more about the digital collections at AUB libraries. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Abir. I'm going to start sharing my screen. First of all, I want to thank you personally, Dr. Nasruddin, for your invitation. Thank you to CSLC from the Lebanese University as well. We are very happy to join you this afternoon. My name is Sahar Ghandour. I'm the business specialist at the AUB libraries. And joining me is my dear colleague, Mrs. Nabila Shahabuddin. She's the head of reference and instruction services as well. I'm going to start off with a little introduction about the AUB libraries. And then we're going to talk a bit about our digital collections. We're going to give an overview, and we're going to show you where they are available on our website and how you can access them, hoping that all of you will benefit from this content. So a bit about the libraries at AUB. We have several branches. The main branch where Nabila and myself work is Japhet Library, and it is the main library. And in terms of specialization, of course, it covers a variety of topics, but mostly its content lies under art, humanities, social sciences, business, geology, and mathematics. The reason that's the case is because we have branch libraries that are more specialized in their fields. We have an engineering and architecture library. We also have a medical library, a very prominent and well-known one, which is next to the AUB Medical Center. And we have a science and agriculture library, which also has a little annex library in the Biqa, in the attic, or in AUB's farm. So this is an overview of our libraries. Of course, all the library collections, especially the ones that we're going to mention today, are accessible through the library's webpage. So this is like the one-stop shop where everything is searchable. Of course, for the AUB community, they can access the full text of these materials. For today's session, the material that we will highlight are those that are open access, or that anyone can access. So they are things that do not require an AUB login or credentials. But this is the website where you can at least browse the content and see the availability of things at the libraries at AUB. A bit about the collections at the AUB libraries. We are very proud to host the largest library collection in the Arab world. It contains a multitude of electronic resources. In terms of languages, we have material that is in English, Arabic, French, and other languages. And we also have a big collection of material that is about Lebanon. So we have a corner, if you like, about information, material, resources related to Lebanon in specific. Of course, these are all reliable, credible resources that are of very high value. In terms of numbers, we have more than 1,400,000 electronic books, and this number is obviously on the increase with everything going digital. We have more than 144,000 e-journals, more than 400 databases, more than 1 million audiovisual items, and around 400,000 print books. Now, this number, on the contrary, is sometimes getting a bit smaller, or not growing as much as the other electronic resources necessarily, because obviously, again, we are moving more and more towards digital whenever possible. We have more than 5,000 periodicals and 800 journals that are mostly on microfilm. Those are divided between English, Arabic, and some French as well. Now, moving on to our digital collections, we consider them to be the gateway to our digitized and preserved collections, obviously, again, very valuable ones. They contain a variety of content, be it manuscripts, maps, photos, posters, books, multimedia, and others. It's an ongoing process of, growth. We are always adding to this online repository. And the main aim of this process or the digital collections is to mostly disseminate information about AUB, about Lebanon, and about the region. And this information is mostly to preserve the history, the cultural heritage, and any relevant information that we would like to archive or keep. And the purpose usually for sharing this information or for making it public is mostly for research purposes and for teaching and learning in general. In a nutshell, we consider it like a hub for collaboration. The collaboration is not necessarily only for the AUB community, although it does help us collaborate with other departments or faculties. We also consider it a hub of collaboration with other universities and with other institutions and research entities. The main goal is to actually support digital scholarship initiatives whenever we can. The digital collections are accessible through the AUB Libraries webpage, and usually if you see this blue box on the website, this is where you can access them. Nabila will kindly walk us through some of the collections in a couple of minutes. Now, talking a bit about the types of digital collections, they're not necessarily organized in this way, if you like, on the website, but this is the background of the collections. Some of them are what we call out of copyright digital collections, which means that they are mostly books, and they are things that are already out of copyright, which gives us the right to actually share the content, and we actually digitize them and share them. Other types include archives and special collections, which are usually at the AUB libraries. They could be things related to AUB solely, such as yearbooks, maps, posters, etc., or student, let's say, activities or something. Or they could be special, collections that were donated to AUB to actually for keepsake and for archiving, and we have the right to actually share them digitally as an open access. And another type is open access projects that are also ideally done with a partner. A good example would be the Kamal Jumblat, for example, digital archive, which also Nabila will show us in a couple of minutes. And the idea here is to basically use the libraries as a digitization entity and also as an archive. So usually those partners trust the AUB libraries to actually digitize and improve the quality of the content and then share them with the public. And last but not least, we have AUB Scholar Works, which is actually AUB's repository. So this one houses, of course, the theses and dissertations of our students, if they will to share it. But it also, it's a sort of hub that has anything that AUB community members would like to share, things that they have worked on as they were doing their research. So it could be raw data, it could be a paper, a work in progress, and this is, of course, to enhance research and collaboration among researchers. Talking a bit about digital materials as well, there are two types of digital materials that are in the collections. Some of them are what we call born digital, and the others are actually things that were not digital that we digitized at the libraries. So those that are born digital include things that are, let's say, written or published on Word, Google Documents, or similar software. Or they could be media that was actually taken through a digital device, so a digital camera or any item. And they could be data sets or data that was actually also done through an online database or an online software that we can actually simply capture and share. Maybe we might improve for some things, especially in images or media. And the idea is all this material, this type of material, is searchable digitally online. On the other hand, we have the digitized material that were not born digital, that we had to actually scan or convert into digital content. And that could include things like books or books chapters. It could include maps, posters, any other artworks, for example. They could be scanned and digitized. And of course, for books, again, we could digitize print books into PDFs or other formats. And in terms of media, we sometimes digitize VHF files, which could include music and video, into digital files. So in this case, the process is a bit more complicated, obviously. First, there's the scanning, and then there is something that we have to change in the nature of those items to make them readable or searchable online, and that would be OCRing, or optical character recognition, which is also something that the libraries have to do before they actually publish the digital collection. And of course, we have a big number of staff that are specialized in this domain. So we have graphic designers, IT personnel, etc., working on such projects to make them happen, of course. And in parallel to this discussion, we can talk about the metadata of files or materials, which basically means that we need to describe this data, or the back office of this information, or of this digital item that we are uploading or publishing, to make sure that the description is right, to make sure that it's searchable, and to make sure that it is discoverable on our system and in general online. In terms of full text search, we try to make sure that the full text is available whenever possible, that it's searchable whenever possible, like I said, through using OCR. So this is important, especially if you're talking about media or items that are not easily graspable or understood by computer. It's important to actually add a description that would make it searchable and accessible. I'm going to give the floor now to my colleague Nabila, who will be walking us through the copyright and then talking about the collections.
Okay. Thank you, Sahar, for the introduction, and thank you, Dr. Nasruddin, for inviting us to this presentation, and thank you all for attending. I'm going to talk a little bit, I'll define some concepts about copyright, public domain, and Creative Commons before we go and check the AUB library digital collections. Regarding the copyright, it's a form of legal protection that usually provides the owner of a work with a set of exclusive rights to reproduce the work, distribute copy of it, prepare derivative like translation, change the work, like, for example, changing the work from a text into a movie, publicly perform the work, publicly display the work if it's an artwork, for example, and so on. While the term public domain, it refers to the creative works that are not protected by copyright. These works usually are open for access and usage by the public without obtaining the permission of the creator of the work. But there is something called the copyright duration. So how long is the copyright? Usually duration vary from one country to another. And in Lebanon and the majority of Arab countries, for example, if you are talking about copyright of books, the copyright of the book is for the lifetime of the author plus 50 years after his or her death. Due to the open access movement and in order to make digital materials available to users, then people interested in open access, they worked on creating different licenses, and the most well-known ones are the Creative Commons licenses, and there are 6 different licenses. These licenses allow creators to communicate which right they reserve and which right they waive to other creators. And this is a list of the 6 Creative Commons license. But before we look at them, let's look at the key license terms. First, we have the by or attribution, where the owner of the work allows others to copy, distribute, display, perform, and remix the work in condition that whoever is using the work to give credit to their work. Non-derivative works, in this case, the users are allowed only to copy, distribute, display, and perform copies of the work. Share alike or SA. In this case, others can distribute the work only under a license identical to the one the creator of the work has chosen for his work or her work. Non-commercial, yani the user can copy, distribute, display, perform, and remix the work, but for non-commercial purposes. And the combination between these key license terms will create the different creative licenses. As I said, here is the list of the different licenses, and the most restrictive one is creative by NC&D, which is attribution, non-commercial, and non-derivative. In this case, the users can share the content, give attribution, but cannot create something from this content, and it's not for commercial use for sure. What about the copyright and term use of the AUB University Libraries digital collections? These collections are under this license, the restricted one, attribution, non-commercial, non-derivative. So anyone is free to download and share works under this license as long as they give credit for the original creation and the shared work is not changed and not used for commercial purposes. So as this is said, we're going to go and look at the different digital collection at AUB libraries. We have the out of copyright collections. We have two Arabic collection online project. This project was developed or supported by New York University, Abu Dhabi. Its main purpose is to provide a free access to Arabic books in the public domain. This collection includes more than 200 digitized books from AUB library, and all the books in this collection are out of copyright or in the public domain. The second digital collection of out copyright is the travel books collection. The geographical coverage of this collection is mainly about the Middle East, and it covers the date from mid-19th century to around mid-20th century. But this collection includes both. It includes copyrighted books as well as books in the public domain. The other collections are the special projects that Sahar mentioned. These are open access projects, and usually they are prepared in partnership or in collaboration with other partners from outside AUB. Examples are Al-Adab Digital Archive. It's about Al-Adab magazine. It's an Arabic language magazine focusing mainly on literary and cultural topics. And the project was done in collaboration with Al-Adab publisher. And it's the OCR, the full text of this magazine is searchable online. We have the Bohr Ludwigsen Digital Archive. This is a collection done by Professor Ludwigs, and it highlights a repository related to the Middle East and the Arab region, and it includes two collections, Al-Mashriq and the Digital Documentary Center. We have the Kamal Jumblat Digital Library, and it's done also in partnership with the Jumblat family, especially Mr. Walid Jumblat. And the main purpose is to provide online free access to some of the content related to Kamal Jumblat. And we have the refugee cultural heritage. This collection is a combination of videos, images, and audios, mainly related to Palestinian refugees as well as Syrian refugees. We have the digital collections that are related to the archive and special collections available at Archive and Special Collection Department at AUB. Some of the collection has been digitized. We have the poster card collections. We have art poster collections, and we have the collection of AUB yearbooks from the 1946 until present, in addition to the Palestinian Oral History Archive. This is a collection of videos also digitized and available online. In addition to our digital collections, we have, as Sahad mentioned, a huge collection of archive and special collections, and some of them are already digitized, available via the digital collection or available via the archive and special collection webpage. I'm going to show you how to access these. Also, we have what we call online exhibits. These exhibits actually are like follow-up to real exhibition held by the Archive and Special Collection Department, either at the library, at AUB, or off campus. And the art and cultural exhibits are available via AUB Google website. Finally, we have the AUB Scholar Work or repository. It's the institutional repository of the American University of Beirut, and the main purpose of it is to preserve, distribute, and digitize materials. Some of the materials are available from the different faculty at AUB or from institute or centers also available at AUB, and it also includes the thesis and dissertations written by AUB graduate students. Some of the content is available as full text, but the majority you need to ask for permission to access them. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and move and show you how to get into these collections via the library webpage. Okay. So this is the AUB homepage. If you want to access the library digital collections, what you need to do from here, go to the top of the screen where you have the libraries links and click on this link. This will take us to the university library webpage. There are many things that you can check, but if you want to access the digital collections, you go to the colored boxes here where you have the digital collection, the AUB Scholar Work, and you have access to the online exhibit. I'm going to go first to the digital collections. On the digital collection webpage, if you know that we have a digital collection on like yearbooks, you can search for it using the search box, or you can simply scroll and look at the different collections. I'm going to start with the first one, the Arabic collection online. If we click on that, this will take us to this page. As you notice, the majority of the books in this collection are published between 1910 and 1946. They are in the public domain. What about the term of use or the how I can use them? If you scroll to the bottom of the page, you have term of use. If you click on this, this will tell you that you can use them according to the Creative Commons mentioned earlier in the presentation. You can browse, you can search, and also if you click on browse all, this will take you to the actual website of the Arabic collection online. Here you can browse by category or you can search for something specific. If you go browse by category, you'll have a list of subjects and you can choose from a certain subject. I want to see what are the books under fine arts, so I click on fine arts, and this will give you a list of books in the public domains, all available in the public domain. If you look at each entry on the website, you'll notice that you have two things. You have the metadata in Arabic, the metadata in English. You can read directly or you can download either a low resolution or a high resolution of the PDF. If you click on the title of the book, this will take you to the page where you can read the book online, zoom in, zoom out, see it in full screen, and so on. If you want to search, you simply go to the search button and you can search either by keyword, by title, and if the book is available, then you can access it as well. This is for the Arabic collections. If you want to look at another example, we can look at the travel books. We have 18 items. Some of them are, as I said, in the public domain and other are not. You can browse by subject, by author, by date, etc. And you can search, like I want to see if any of these include something on Beirut, you can search by keywords. If I go and click on this title, Azm Place of Hama, this will take me to the book. But if you look at the top here, next to the title of the book, it says this book is in copyright, only showing 5 pages. It gives you an idea about the book, but if you want to read the book, you must walk in to the archive and special collection at Jaffet Library. If we go to the second title, like Palestine and Syria, in this case, I'll have the same thing, but no copyright restriction. I can simply open the pages, search for any word in the book, and if I want to cite this book, I have the citation on the top right-hand side, and I can zoom in, zoom out any of these pages. This is for the travel books. If you are interested in finding AUB yearbooks, you can simply click on the AUB yearbook. As you can see, it covers the date from 1946 to 2017. And if you want to see the whole collection, click on Browse. And let's say I know that one of the yearbook was called Tabibs or Tobib, so I will search for it. So 5 items out of the whole yearbooks are related to this keyword. And if I want to check this keyword, I simply click on the yearbook. And as you can see, my keywords are highlighted. And if you go to the right side of the screen, you can move from one page to another to see the highlighted words. If you want to search within this yearbook, you can do the search in here as well. You have the citation and so on. What about the Kamal Jumblat digital library? Here is the main page. You can browse it, biography, people, timeline, articles written by Kamal Jumblat, books by and about him, some multimedia and more. Let's say I want to see if there is a book written by him called Farah, and if I can find it in this collection. So I will go to search and type in Arabic or English. Okay, it says here that Farah is available. So we have here the metadata, and I can read the book because it's available online. If you want to see like caricature about him, you can go to multimedia and access some of the caricatures. What else? I'm going to go and show you POHA or Palestine Oral History Archive. It's digitized videos. Here you can search. Let's say I want to see if there is any video talking about agriculture. I can search in a certain field by title, by subject, or I can browse by subject, for example. And here you can go alphabetically and choose a certain subject and watch a video or an interview. These are interviews done with Palestinian refugees mainly. This is for the digital collections. If you want to get an idea about the online exhibition, you simply go to online archives and you'll have here a list of online exhibition. As I said, these are like a follow-up to a real exhibition done either at AUB, the library, or off campus. Let's say I'm interested in the exhibition on AUB main gate. I will click on the link, and this will take me to the exhibition, and I can go and check, read, use any of the content, but according to creative license mentioned earlier. But not all online exhibits are accessible from outside AUB. For example, if I go to comic, accessible only on campus. In this case, if you want to know more about this, maybe you need to get in touch with the library. On the main page, you have archive and special collections. Here you can see the different collections, archives, audio, visual, manuscript maps, periodicals, theses, and dissertations. And here you can browse by community, like faculty publications or other content, and you can browse, or you can search the AUB scholar work. In addition to faculty collections, we have like content from the Neighborhood Initiative from Asfari Institute. And also we have some AUB data banks. These are data available online directly. If you want any of these, let's say you are interested in the Lebanon protest megaphone news, you can simply click on that and view and open any of these entry and use them, as you can see here, according to the copyright license Creative Commons. So you can use, reproduce, and do more. This is for the AUB library collection. I'm going to leave the floor to my colleague, Sahar, who will follow up.
Thank you, Nabila. Okay, so we had a look at the collections at the libraries. We also have a very useful resource or a set of resources that you can look at, which are the library research guides. So if you go to the library's webpage and under research and teaching support, if you go to research guides, you will find we have hundreds of research guides by topic, by course, or by type of guide. So for example, we have things related to research methodology or so on. So although these sometimes contain AUB content, things that are specific to the AUB community, we also, especially recently, we've had a lot of research guides that are accessible for everyone. For example, we have a very useful one about finding open access resources or a list of open access databases by topic. So this is very useful, accessible for everyone. I'm going to go to find open access resources as an example, just to show you one example of those. If you look at the research guides, you can see that they have different tabs, and depending on what you're looking for, these guides could give you resources that you can check out, open access resources. General research guides page, you'll see that you can search by subject or by type. If I'm looking for open access material, I search for open access, you'll see all the research guides that we have that are related to open access. We've recently also done a lot of research guides related to online teaching or open education, and these are also very useful. They have a lot of useful resources that you can check. We also have guides related to publishing your research, be it in open access or in other types of resources. So we always like to share the research guides because we really think we put a lot of effort in those, and we think that they are useful for everyone, not just for the AUB community. So again, anytime you're on the AUB libraries, if you go under research and teaching support, you click on research guides, you can access those guides and have a look at them. Another very important thing to note, especially now post-COVID, is that a lot of organizations, universities, consortia, etc., have been sharing open access material. A lot of the big universities have their own digital collections that are easily searchable online. So by all means, when you're working on a certain topic, just like we showed you how AUB has a lot of resources, there are a lot out there. All it takes is a very simple search online. Some examples include NYU, Harvard, Princeton, the Library of Congress, and many others. There are also some very well-known open access sort of hubs for online teaching and learning. These also contain a lot of useful resources related to tools or items that you can use for online teaching and learning. Even Wikipedia has a very comprehensive list of digital library projects. So in that sense, it would be searching by topics. You can go there and check the library projects, the digital ones. Most of them are easily accessible online and searchable. This is the trend. This is the future. More and more researchers are on board now with sharing their data, their research, with collaborating with other institutions, with other researchers, across the world. So we encourage everyone to actually make the best use of those open access material because it's out there, it's free, and it's accessible to everybody. So this is just a list of some of them. Of course, there are many, many, many more, but we just wanted to highlight this as well towards the end of our presentation. So like I said at the beginning, most of our material are usually restricted to AUB users only. However, at AUB, we have services specialized for visitors. We also have memberships, and we usually collaborate a lot with researchers from other institutions, including the Lebanese University. So we are genuinely hoping that we can continue this conversation, and that at any time you find something at the AUB libraries that will be helpful for your research, to be in contact with us and to talk to us, and hopefully we can always help and work together, as long as we are following the copyright laws and making sure that we're sharing for the right purpose. Before we open the floor for questions, we just want to stress again that you're welcome to be in contact with us. Again, a reminder of our contact details. This is our website. This is a generic email, jftref, which you can email. You can send any question to anytime. You can also call us. We also have on our website an Ask a Librarian form that you can fill out, and we will get back to you within usually maximum 24 hours or so. We also have a chat feature on our website that you're welcome to use. And definitely we're on social media, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we're on Facebook. So also follow us. And if you have any comments, we'd be more than glad to help. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Nabila. Thank you, Abir, for the invitation. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'll leave the floor for any questions.
Great, and I thank you, and of course everyone here too. Actually, that was wonderful from you to showcase AUB digital collections, and also the LibGuides, which are truly beneficial. And also it was very thoughtful of you to share those external resources at the very end. Thank you again, and please, questions are most welcome from everybody. If not, I would love simply to ask about newspaper collections. If you're archiving, like digitizing newspaper collections, especially local ones like An-Nahar, let's say, and even English and French. Thank you.
I have a question, please.
All right. Yeah, you may, please.
Regarding the newspaper collection, my question is about it. First, my question is for Ms. Nabila Shahabuddin. I want to ask her if they're documenting anything regarding the Lebanese Civil War, or they have anything about the digital collection on the Lebanese newspapers that used to be published at that period of time.
We have a whole guide on the research guide about the Lebanese Civil War. You can check it. It has a lot of information, including some newspapers that are available free, and not archival material. But for newspaper, digital, actually we have, but they need to be accessed on campus. We have As-Safir, An-Nahar, L'Orient Le Jour, Al-Hayat. They are accessible, but only from the library. So you need to, like Sahar mentioned at the end, to fill up the visitor form and ask for access to AUB library whenever the library is open. And the whole collection is available on microfilm, and it is the same process if you want to check any of these.
Just the newspapers you've mentioned.
The ones I mentioned are digitized, while the others, they are available on microfilm. Yani you can see Al-Muharrir, let's say Al-Anwar, any of these well-known newspaper published during the Civil War. and maybe they stopped at one time. I don't know if Sahara has something else to add, but
I'm okay. Thank you, Nabila.
okay.
Any other questions? All right, that was actually very kind of you also to join us on our holiday. We thank you very much for being here, and we wish you a very pleasant end of day, and until soon, hopefully.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.